And we should be live now. All right.
Hello, world.
Oh, hello. I didn't see you there.
Thank you for joining me.
Oh, while you're here, can't wait to stay for dinner. All right. I got show notes open. I haven't looked over these news stories. We can do that between breaks.
Okay.
I don't think I have anything. I only have one game I played. It's like I'm feeling so crappy.
Yeah, I guess I have five, but I don't have much to say about any of them.
Oh, nice. Well, maybe it'll be a real short episode.
Yeah. This month for me was kind of a I don't know, I just hit a point where I'm just like comfort food in gaming. That's all I want.
That's what I've been doing too. Oh, thank you for the Quarter's End invite last night. By the way,
Yeah.
you sent it to me like literally as I was turning my PS4 off to go to bed. So I was just like, no.
It's yeah, I we I have a friend who works overnights and so he always wants to do it super late.
Oh yeah.
Um, and I couldn't remember if you had a level 30 or not.
Yeah, I do. I'm trying to level up my other two. And one is like 25 and one is 21.
Gotcha.
I'm trying to get them all to 30 because I was able to solo the Nightfall this week, and I was like, oh man, if I could
Holy,
do that with all three characters, like I could get some good loot.
holy crap. Well, I say that. I mean, I could see how you could because, and I didn't know how to do the Nightfall until last night when a friend told me. You just stay in the freaking starting area when you get to the boss and
Mm-hmm.
just kind of peek out every once in a while to
Yeah,
aggro
there's
them.
actually a spot. There's a little spot you can kind of hover to, right next to the entrance to the final area, and you duck down in this corner area, and the boss can still hit you every once in a while, but none of the other enemies can get you. It's really
So,
nice.
what I just realized is we probably should have actually started the official podcast for this subject.
That's true. Oh well, it's on the live stream. Oh, I still have to open Pam. Start recording, and then go to the background. Go. Okay. All right. You ready to kick this thing off?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Let's start in three, two, one. Welcome back to another episode of Picking Up the Pixels RPG Love. I'm your host, Boston. Joining my party, as always, is Musum.
Hello.
And unfortunately, no Mina this time. It seems like she's been having some health concerns that has taken her away from the show for right now. But hopefully, she's doing okay, and hopefully, she can join us again next month. But just the old classic cast this time. So
Yeah.
probably a fast show because neither of us plays many games as Mina does.
I don't think many people play as many games as
No,
Mina
she
does.
really she really cooks through them. It's very impressive.
Yeah. Yeah.
But without further ado, since we just spent a whole bunch of time talking about Destiny before we started recording, Musum, what have you been playing?
Uh, Before I get to Destiny, I'll get to everything else that I barely played.
Okay.
Of course, I played some Warframe. Nothing new to report there. They did a new patch this week where I guess they revised the spy mode in the game, but I haven't had a chance to check it out yet. So
What's
next month,
spy mode?
well, they have it's one of the mission types,
Oh, okay.
and usually it's you gotta like I guess they've set it up now to where the enemy can be alerted to things, and it's usually they have the ship sectioned off into areas where you can alert the guys in those areas, and if they make it to an alarm, then you have an issue. But if they don't make it to an alarm or you hack the alarm in time, then you can prevent everything.
Hmm.
So I mean, it's pretty. It's definitely not a oh you're discovered mission over spy thing.
Right.
It's
And
pretty
it's not like a
lenient.
standard run and gun.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Well,
pretty cool.
I don't know. It's neat. They've done some interesting things in the past with it, but um, let's see what else. Played a little bit more Persona Q. Unlocked the party,
Oh,
uh,
okay.
which I really don't think it's a spoiler saying it. Once you get past the initial first dungeon, is when you get your party.
Okay. I man, I really want to go back to playing that. I I don't know what my aversion to the 3DS is right now, but every time I look at it, I go, it's sitting
Yeah,
over there on top of my Vita in the corner, just like, please, Persona Q, it's so good.
it's man, and it ticks me off too. Like, and I knew it when I was buying the 3DS. I was like, John, they're just going to introduce that new 3DS in like 3 months.
It's right around the corner.
They're going to have another game. And then I did the transfer, and that just made it, so much worse. And now I'm just thinking about like losing my awesome looking 3DS to whatever horrible looking. I said everything's going to look horrible next to that
Yeah, that's true.
Persona 3DS. So I can play a game that I really missed out on the Wii.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm going to do yet, but
Yeah, how much is the new 3DS? I don't remember.
I haven't looked into it.
Yeah,
I would as
I'm assuming it's 200.
yeah,
That's so much money.
yeah.
Oh man.
I don't think it, and honestly, I'm probably closer to buying a Wii U before I buy that too
Yeah.
at this point. But because yeah, that not yeah, Xenoblade X, that's what it's called.
Yep.
That trailer looked pretty sweet. But
Yeah.
what else? I played a bunch of Dragon Age at the beginning of the month and then stopped playing it altogether because I got the Dorian glitch.
Oh,
Which
what's that glitch?
it's where you don't get his end quest stuff.
Oh, lame.
Yeah. So they just fixed it in the last couple days, and today before the podcast, I finally saw
Oh, good.
it, and I can go back to it.
Good, because
I
Dorian's Quest is one of the better ones in that game.
Yeah, he is my favorite character.
He's
Uh,
great. I thought he would be, when you first meet him, you're like, oh, here's this, this guy with this accent, and he's supposed to be super cool. Oh yeah, very impressive.
yeah,
But he's kind of one of my favorite characters in that game.
he's got a good sense of humor, and every once in a while he becomes self-conscious about insulting someone, and
Yeah,
he's really well written.
yeah,
And if I'm ever a dude in the game, I'm probably if I don't romance Cassandra, I'm probably gonna romance him. But
yeah. I romanced Cassandra in my last one. That was really good. That one was. I would recommend that one. That one was great.
okay, maybe I'll do that. I need to. I don't know where I'm spending my time in that game, honestly, because I think you said you beat it and got everything in it in 100 hours, right?
Yep.
And I'm at 120 hours.
Oh man.
I'm on my first playthrough. I have 2 story missions left, and I have a bunch of the fetch quest stuff left. I still have like 4 dragons, I think, which it's mostly just figuring out where they are and then killing them. Although I did
Yeah.
die to the last dragon I fought, which was in I don't remember what it's called, the snowy place.
Oh, Emprise de Leon, whatever.
Yeah, like there are 2 dragons in that area, and I killed.
There's actually 3.
Holy crap!
Yeah, the last one is the very, very last one of the game, and it is tough.
Oh yeah, I just found this one sunbathing, and he kicked my butt. And
Yeah, all
I
3 of
tried it.
those ones are really tough.
Well, the first one it wasn't too bad, but I play the dragons in the tactical view,
Right.
and I know for me at least it was a lot harder doing it in the other view.
Yeah,
Even though
that's the one that I used, and I must have lucked out. I never really had that much, but I would recommend for anybody playing to play it in tactical view because a lot of your party members are like, "Oh, look, this dragon's breathing fire. I'm just gonna stand in it and have a good time." Oh, wait,
Yep.
I'm dead.
Pretty much, even in tactical view, you have to combat that a little bit.
Yeah.
So, but it's a little bit more controllable because everything is always paused until you hold down a button. So,
Yeah.
but oh man, I don't know. I'm probably going to get back into that now that I've finally gotten the end to Dorian's quest and can move on. And I'm so close to the end, and I haven't decided if I'm going to. I haven't decided how much of the side quest stuff I'm going to finish up.
Yeah.
Because I've gotten all the characters. Somehow, even Vivian, like I got all her character stuff, even though she hated 90% of my decisions.
Yeah, she hated me too. That was such a weird character. It's so weird because a lot of your interactions with her need to be kind of
very factual, very middle of the road. Like, I don't care about emotions, either good or bad. I have a job to do. Um,
Yeah.
and I would never, personally, I would never play Dragon Age like that. I would either play it as the good guy, like I typically do, good but fair. Um, or I'd kind of play it to see what the opposite end of the spectrum is, where you're just a total jerk the whole time. But I'd never really play the middle ground.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
and she's so court-like
Mm-hmm.
in kind of that superficial, like, she's saying something polite but she's really cursing you, like.
Right, but it sounds really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very I don't know. The characters in that, I mean, I really love the characters in that game, but
Even the ones I dislike, I like, because they're good characters. They're just not a character that I enjoy. Sarah is probably famously going to be the divisive character in that game.
apparently so.
Yeah, and I really don't like her, but I think she's a really interesting character. It's just nothing. It's not something I'm looking for in a character in Dragon Age.
So something kind of mine. Okay, so my main character romanced Sarah, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's a certain event that happens in the game where after you come out of it, you go and can talk to Sarah, and she literally flips out about it, and she's like, "This is so stupid. I can't believe everyone believes this stuff. Blah 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 blah. You don't believe this, do you?" I'm like, "Well, yeah, it was kind of it was my first big disagreement with her, and
Weird.
the game gave me a couples fight in the game. Like, we argued, and then I was like, "Look, is this going to affect our relationship?" And she's like, "Well, no. I
No, we're
get,
good. Wow.
couldn't get rid of anyone that I think was, I mean, or she said something like she felt everyone was stupid in some way or something like that.
Yeah, that sounds like a very typical Sarah line.
Yeah, it was just a really surprising moment. I'm curious to those other style moments and the other relationships in the game.
Yeah, I romanced Blackwall in my first one, and he had a really big one that I won't spoil, because I think you get it either way if you don't romance him. If you do romance him or you don't, I think you get it either way. And Cassandra, I don't remember. I kind of flew through my second playthrough because I was playing it on Nightmare, and I sort of turned the corner on the difficulty near the end of the game, and I was like, I think I'm powerful enough. I'm just gonna finish this thing.
Yeah. I mean, why bother getting all the extra stuff if you've already seen it and it's not going to offer some new edge to it, right?
Yeah, for you, I would recommend at the very least finishing the game, because as soon as you finish, they just dump you right back in the world, so you can kind of finish any side quest stuff you want.
Mm-hmm.
But I would recommend finishing it because that ending is really good.
Yeah, I need to. And
Yeah.
it's part of me suspects, because they haven't talked about DLC really at all for this thing, and they're going to do something. I mean, they're BioWare.
Well, what's funny is last week we were talking about that on TVGP, and I looked it up, and BioWare said there are not going to be any DLC characters because they didn't put the hooks in the game like they did with Dragon Age and Mass Effect, which that's kind of a bummer, but that's fine. And then they said they're not working on any DLC at the moment.
Oh, weird.
Which is really and they came out and they're like, we know you guys want DLC, but like we're not working on it right now. We probably will, maybe. I don't know, but not right now. I would have figured they would have started teasing the first DLC pack by this point, because I would this is like with the other Dragon Age games, I really want DLC for this game because I like how they've handled DLC in the previous two games.
Well, and I was kind of expecting it to wind up being like a Dragon Age Awakening DLC thing where they say, okay, here's this epilogue story that's 20 hours long or something, maybe a year later. But if they aren't even working on anything, then
yeah, it's weird.
I guess that nixes that.
Yeah, I the only thing I can hope is that, they said that, the work that they're doing on Dragon Age is not going to affect Mass Effect and vice versa, since they're working on the new Mass Effect game. But I would like some DLC and they haven't even really released much DLC for the multiplayer either. Like for Mass Effect 3, they were seems like every couple of weeks they were putting out a new, like, here's a new class, here's a new map, here's 15 new characters.
I don't think the Dragon Age I mean, I don't know anyone playing the Dragon Age multiplayer. In
No.
Mass Effect, I knew a bunch of people.
It made sense to try it out.
Yeah.
And I went into the Dragon Age multiplayer just to poke around the menu and stuff, and I just, like, I started my character, and I was just like, I want to go back into the game to play with Varric. I don't want to, I don't
Yeah.
need competition in Dragon Age. Thankfully, it was separate, but the other JZ in chat says, I still need to go play that last Mass Effect 3 DLC, the one with the party. I've heard such good things about it. I haven't played that either, and every once in a
Oh
while I
my
see
gosh.
like a GIF or two online about, all of the, Garrus and Rex just saying, Shepard.
Look, okay, you can bust through the main story of that DLC within approximately 2-3 hours.
Okay.
You will not see all the content of the DLC in those
Sure.
2 or 3 hours because there's probably 8 hours of weird side stuff with
Yeah.
all the characters in it. But it is absolutely worth it to do that. It will be an evening spent. Anything you felt about Mass Effect 3, this will be the positive Lethal Weapon 2 ending to it that you've always wanted.
I did just get my video game collection back. Maybe I'll dig out Mass Effect 3, pop it back in my 360, and see if I own any of that stuff.
It's so much fun. I mean, it's all about the characters, and it's just a blast.
Yeah.
Talking about it just makes me want to go play it. If they had made a 40-hour game out of that DLC,
Yeah,
I
the
would have.
40-hour party. And I liked Mass Effect 3, so, that will only help things.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Yeah, I don't know. So, and then I downloaded a game that a friend told me about called 10 Million.
Okay.
I think I've heard you talk about it on TVGP, right? Or is that Hannah?
Is this the mobile game?
Yes.
Yes, the Match 3.
Match 3 dungeon
Yeah.
crawler RPG thing.
That game is super cool.
I downloaded it at 10 p.m. thinking I'm just
Oh,
going to
no.
play this for an hour. And then it's like 3 a.m. and I'm like, no.
Why am I so tired? What?
I have meetings tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
So if you haven't played this game, it's on iOS. It's like $2 or $3. I think it is on Android. I know that.
It's worth whatever the price is.
It's basically you have a home base that you build up and upgrade weapons in, and then you go into a dungeon. Your guy's walking along the top of the screen, and you'll encounter something, and then you have to match 3 items in the bottom screen to deal with that encounter. So if it's a monster, you'll want to use either wands or swords. If it's a chest or a door, you'll need locks, etc., etc. So
And I think they I'm gonna look it up, but I think it's also out on Steam.
it might have
And
been.
that game is so good. I mean, it's kind of, it's on Steam for $5.
Man, it's a lot of fun. I feel like it really shines on a mobile device. I can't imagine doing that. Gosh, a match 3 game with a mouse? That sounds like a nightmare.
Yeah, that probably wouldn't be my recommended platform to play that in.
Yeah.
But yeah,
But-
that game came out of nowhere like a year or two ago, maybe even longer. And man, I haven't thought about that game for a while. That game is outstanding.
Yeah, I know it got a real big hype back then, and I didn't like. I really am not a fan of gaming on my phone when it comes down to it. But this is just a nice. I can play it as I'm going to bed or while I'm waiting on someone somewhere. Like it's just really quick. All your gameplay sessions are 1 to 2 minutes usually, unless you're just a god at the game, which I am not.
I never got to that point either.
Yeah. So. But,
Yeah, that game is great. Yeah, really well suited for a mobile platform.
So, the rest of my time, and by rest of, I mean 90% of my time has gone this month, is to a game that I don't think too many people have talked about called Destiny.
Yeah, unfortunately, I have not been feeling very well. I've had some medical issues this month, so my warm safety blanket this month has been a lot of Destiny.
Yeah. I had a bunch of new friends get it for Christmas, and they're all into it and wanting to play it. And at first I was pretty like, no, I'm done with Destiny. I don't want to get back
Yeah.
into this. Fine, I'll play with you, but I'm not gonna grind bounties. I'm not gonna go for exotics. And
Yeah.
now I'm up to like 8 exotic weapons. And each of my classes have 3 exotic pieces of armor, and
Pulled
um,
you right back in.
yeah, I've run the
Yeah.
new raid twice now, but I haven't beaten it.
Oh,
Uh,
nice. I haven't done that new raid yet.
it's a lot different from the old raid. I'm pretty shocked actually how different it is from the old
Hmm.
raid. Um,
Do you think it's better or worse? The general consensus seems to be that it's not as solid as Vault of Glass.
well, the thing, like you think about Vault of Glass, and you have like Vault of Glass is slow and is gonna take a long time no matter what.
It's very puzzly.
Yeah, and then you get to that midsection where somehow you have to get 6 players to sneak through a maze with an instant kill enemy.
And then
To
do
get-
a jumping puzzle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's like those, like they're kind of fun maybe the first time, but they can be kind of frustrating.
Yeah.
Especially like I swear one of the last times I raided it, one of my friends just did not believe I had any clue what I was doing there, and I'm like, I've gotten through this before. I know you want to find an alternate solution.
Just follow the path.
But it was, I don't know. And now the original raid doesn't even drop that good a gear, but Crota, it's a much shorter raid. There's really about, I think, 4 parts to it. None of them are near as long as the previous parts. The first part is kind of a dark, you could call it a maze, but not really, because you're heading towards these lamps each time.
Yeah, kind of like a sprint through a maze.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's basically, most of it is just survive until you accomplish your goal is the majority of it. They have some pretty teamworky parts. Like they have one part where you have 3 circles you have to stand in on one side to form a bridge, and then you have to get your other members over to the other side and maintain 3 circles on that side so all your members can get across.
Right.
I guess I hope I'm not spoiling this too much for everyone, but
Well, I feel like if you're playing Destiny, you've probably heard or seen or probably run Crota's End by now, because I think it's been out for a month or so.
yeah. Well, and I'm not giving away. Well, I mean there is no story in Destiny, but
Yeah.
I'm not giving away strategies necessarily or
Sure.
anything. I will say a hunter with all the invisibility perks is super useful in a lot of sections of this.
Right.
But the hard part is maintaining your invisibility for extended amounts of time, which I am not the best at.
Oh, right.
And it would help if I had what is it, Mask of the Third Man or something like
yeah,
that.
that's what I have on my my hunter.
Doesn't that give some beneficial to the late dancer?
It does less arc energy for something or other.
Oh.
I think.
Or maybe not.
I don't
Oh,
have it fully leveled, so I don't remember.
I can't remember. I got these armbands that are pretty great though, because you hit me and then I go invisible. So
What were those? I think I just got those yesterday.
they are
Don't touch me or something
yes,
like that? Yeah.
yes. So like I equipped my guy so that if I stab someone, I went invisible,
Mm-hmm.
and if they hit me, I went invisible.
Oh, nice.
And then if I crouched, I went invisible, and then if I blade danced and press R2, I went invisible. So
Wow.
like the first maze, if you can manage to keep yourself invisible for an extended amount of time, you can actually solve that entirely by yourself.
Oh, wow.
And on top of that, if you can pull that off, you can also just play it anytime, just as a single player, just to even get the first chest.
Yeah, I have actually gone through the beginning part of that raid to get the first chest on at least one of my characters. It doesn't contain any exotics anymore. But it's interesting because it seems like for Vault of Glass, you needed at the very least 3 people to get into that into the raid itself. But the interesting thing about Crota's End is a lot of people are just soloing almost the entire thing, if not the entire thing on normal mode.
Yeah.
I think that's interesting because we were talking a little bit about it at the beginning of the episode that I soloed the Nightfall this week, and then I went back and I soloed the heroic strike version of that dungeon on the highest level. And you know, I don't consider myself to be very well geared in that game, and it took me some patience, but it was entirely doable. So I kind of like the idea that Bungie is making that raid at least possible with just one person. If I had the icebreaker, that would be way better. But
oh man, did you miss the sale on it like a week or two ago?
Yeah, I couldn't scrounge together enough coins, which is why I'm going through the Nightfall and going through all this stuff now. I didn't really buy anything this week, just to have my 17 coins if that guy comes back up again.
Well, I am now up to 2 characters that can do the Nightfall, so I don't have to feel bad if I don't.
Nice, yeah.
If I select these 2 friends over other friends. So if you ever want someone else to run it with,
I'll hit you up. Yeah, and my first Nightfall, I didn't get an exotic, but I did get the exact gun I had been working towards, which is the Vanquisher 8 from New Monarchy. That was my drop, and I'm like, all right, whew, successful, first run, all right.
You know, I'll tell you, speaking of New Monarchy, something I'd really like to see them do with those side factions is actually give them more of a reason for you to join and participate in them.
Yeah, kind of like you know, I thought that the Eris Morn stuff, the for anybody listening that hasn't played Destiny, she's the new faction for the new DLC, the first expansion. And before you can really do a lot of stuff for her, you have to go through the beginning quest chain for her. I don't think I recently went through those, and I don't think that they're very great. Kind of 3 missions that were really short and pretty easy, and then there's like a bunch of bounties you do after that, and then one bounty at the very end that I can't do because it's way too hard, and then you get a pair of gauntlets that I already have better gauntlets for.
Yeah, that bounty is a pain in the butt. It is ridiculous that they send you through all that and you don't get like an exotic or something meaningful out of that.
I mean, I can't even do the last step because it's too hard to do solo. And I had like 3 other people with me trying to do it at the very same time, and he wiped all of us. Like, it's crazy.
Oh,
but I agree. I do wish that there was something, you know, like some sort of, you know, introduction missions or something where you're at least getting a little bit of background, like who is Dead Orbit? Like I don't know. Like who's New Monarchy? Future War Cult has the coolest emblems. I don't know what they are. They could be about like kicking puppies out of airlocks. Like I really don't know, but their emblems look cool, so I'll do some missions for them. You know, like it seems like they only exist to be vendors, and vendors of stuff that are fine, but there's no real anything interesting surrounding it. I think that's a bummer.
And now none of their legendary armor matters anymore because it didn't upgrade with the expansion.
Mm-hmm.
Barely has any light on it, so...
Yeah, it's... I was happy to see Luke Smith from Bungie come out and say, like, look, we handled the gear upgrading wrong. Like, we wasted your time with the exotic upgrading. We didn't respect all the work you had put into your items. You know, people can buy better armor than people were getting out of hard mode raid on Vault of Glass. You know, it's nice to see them, even if they can't fix it right now, they're at least coming in up and saying, like, look, you know, on TVGP last week, I compared them to 2004 Blizzard, where WoW had just come out and they're trying to make changes to it, and yay, we put out a patch, and oh my god, everybody's upset at us. What did we do? You know, like, I feel like they're kind of in the same beginning cycle of, like, you know, they even had a news post this week where they're rebalancing weapons again, and they're making a semi-controversial change to auto rifles, and everybody is up in arms because they're changing weapons. It's like, well, you guys just haven't figured out your messaging yet. You know, hopefully you'll get to the point where Blizzard is now, where it's 2 changes have 18 pages worth of patch notes. But the other JZ in chat says, Blizzard never really fixed the expansion gear value either, though, to this day, as far as I know. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how you resolve that unless... You know, the thing with Destiny, I think, is a lot of people, because the gear is so cool looking for so many of the classes, I feel like so many people just want to take some material and upgrade the current gear that they're wearing, and then say, like, oh, I'm wearing this, you know, super high level Vault of Glass gear, but I have the whole set and it's been totally upgraded. I think that's, from a game design standpoint, that's probably pretty tough. But, you know, Bungie needs to figure out what game they made.
Yeah.
You know, did they make a game where every time an expansion comes out, which it looks like House of Wolves will come out in May, that you chuck all the old stuff and then you save up, you know, a bunch of Vanguard commendations and you buy new stuff once it comes out, you know, like, I feel like they haven't really decided yet.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like they should double their staff.
Yeah.
And then they should release, like I feel like all the factions should have story-related faction quests that you can only go on if you join them, and the end result should be something like the Husk of the Pit weapon, which, if you aren't familiar, if the audience isn't familiar with it, it's a weapon you randomly get from killing the Knights of Crota on Earth. And it only, once you upgrade it, it upgrades into a legendary weapon, and once you upgrade that, it turns into an exotic.
Yeah.
Which is a lot of work, especially to get to the exotic part, since you have to kill Crota on hard mode. For
and it seems like the
but
weapon is maybe not necessarily worth it in the end, but, you know, it'd be nice if you went with Future War Cult and you did all these missions and you got them to rank 3 and you did kind of a harder bounty or a set of quests, almost like the exotic bounties, and then at the end of it you got a Future War Cult exotic. You know, I think that would be kind of neat, you know, even if it's something similar to the exotic bounties in kind of what you need to do. It would at least be a little bit something surrounding that faction.
Yeah. It's, I don't know, but I don't know if they have, I don't know what they have on their plate. That one leaked entry of their plans for the year sounded absolutely like a massive amount of content, where they're like... Yeah, especially the September fall release. Yeah.
And I think the thing, too, is it's got to be kind of tough for them because they made Destiny. It's kind of out on the market. But I think it's hard to understand how much they can do with Destiny 1, because, I mean, it's not on PC. You can't just launch like a 40 gig update and say, okay, well, we just rewrote the base level Destiny and now, yay, you can, you know, now we can do all this cool stuff, you know, have way more vault space, for example. Or if they just, like the heavy ammo bug, if their hands are just kind of tied in a really weird way and they're just trying to get around stuff until they get to Destiny 2, you know, and then they can say, all right, well, we learned our mistake. Sorry, everybody. Destiny 2, we fixed all these problems. Yay, Destiny.
Well, and what's going to transfer to Destiny 2 that's going to matter is the other question in my brain.
Yeah.
Because
that's going to be the make or break for that game.
My only attachment to my character, and really it's just my hunter, because that's the one I played the most, is her reputation ranks.
Right.
I don't want to redo that. But I don't know. Either way, I have sunk probably 40 hours a week into this game.
Yeah, I have something similar, a lot more when I was sick and I missed a bunch of work. But yeah, I just, you know, I feel like it's hard for people that don't enjoy the grind in these games to understand why I find it so appealing. Is that I can come home from work and I can play for an hour or two if I have a bunch of stuff to do, and I can make progress. You know, I can get materials, I can get progress on this stuff, I can run some strikes, I can do some bounties. You know, there's stuff for me to do every day. There's not 8 hours worth of stuff for me to do every day typically, but you know, I can spend a little time with my character in Destiny and get something done, and then I can go to bed. You know,
Yeah.
like that's kind of what I'm looking for in a game right now.
It's fairly easy to accomplish, like the daily bounties.
Yep.
There's always something to level up, and the gameplay is a lot of fun despite the lack of story.
Yeah. Yeah,
And, like,
which is
it's
always going to be the unfortunate part about the original Destiny.
and it blows my mind, like whenever you're driving from like one area of a map to the other, and you're just passing like all this detailed terrain and
Yep.
things, and there's probably like weird hidden stuff that the developers have put in there for you to look at, but they have taken out any possible reason for you to stop any of those
Yep.
areas. It's
Well, it was crazy because I spent a little bit of time while I was off work, and I went through. I think it's DestinyGhostHunter.net. Oh, hi. My work phone. Sorry, everyone. And I went and I got as many ghosts as possible. And they're in really weird spots, and some of them are cool. Some of them I had no idea that there were entire sections of maps I had never been to. And there's just a ghost hanging out in there. I was like, oh,
weird.
jeez. And the cool part about that site is you actually put in your gamer tag or your PSN profile, your PSN ID, and it will tell you which ghosts you already have. And then give you like a little couple screenshots and a YouTube video to go get those ghosts.
like, what's this website called again?
Destiny Ghost Hunter?
Okay. That's the other thing I love about Destiny is if you have a question about it, then chances are they have a website called whatever that question
Destiny,
is
that
.com.
thing.
Whereiszer.com.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Destiny
or
Public
like
Events.
iszuratthetower.com, I think is what that website is. And it just...
Does the arms dealer have bluefusionrifles.com?
Right, and what's interesting is when I needed that for that bounty, I used the if this then that recipe to send me a text whenever he had them, and I went, oh, okay, I got to go over to my PS4. So I guess that's the nice thing about Destiny being such a huge and popular and scrapable game, is that if you want to go get your ghosts, and I do because I like the Grimoire cards and I like going through and reading all of them, each ghost comes with a Grimoire card, so now I have tons more.
The writing in that game is really good.
It is.
You have to read it
The writing
And-
outside of the game is
in
really
very
good.
small boxes, not in the game.
Mhm. Yeah, man. It's going to be very interesting to see what the legacy of Destiny will be. Sort of as we get into, the codename Comet expansion and Destiny 2, which they're already working on. It'd be interesting.
Okay. Well, that's all I've been doing.
And that's all I've been doing, so let's take our first break.
What was your other game?
Just Destiny.
Oh, I thought you said you had two. Okay.
Oh, no. I played a little bit of Dust and Elysian Tale, but not enough to really say anything too exciting about it.
Gotcha. Okay. I'm going to go get some more water.
Okay. Hello, chat. Ba-da-bow. Chip-a-bow. Be nice if we had a short episode this month anyways, because I gotta go play Destiny. Hehe. Oh, sorry everybody for this tiny version of me all the way down in this corner. I have two webcams connected to my machine now, so everybody joining me can see my mug, see my beard. So you guys probably don't realize it, but the people on the other side of the Skype call cannot see me. So. Okay. All right, you ready to wrap up this episode?
Let's do it.
Hey, our JZ just sent a picture.
Is it a... Oh, okay. I was about to say, is this a WorkSafe link?
Okay. You ready?
I am.
Okay. I probably just asked you that. Sorry.
You did.
All right. Still not feeling 100%.
It's okay. I had a stomach virus a couple weeks ago. And
oh, God, that's the worst.
Yeah. It was... I've had... The second one I've had in my life. Absolutely horrific.
It's too many.
Yeah. First one I've had since I've been married, so that was wonderful.
Oh, yeah.
But I stopped drinking caffeine during that period. And was
boy.
like, you know what? I'm just going to stay off it.
Yeah, probably a good call.
I'm a lot less angry without caffeine.
Yeah. All right, let's get started here in 3, 2, 1. Let's talk RPG releases for February 2015. Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate comes out for the 3DS on the 13th. Soulman from the community sent me I think both of us, a code to invite us, and I have not had time to even play that. I
downloaded it.
You have gotten further than I have. I got it in the middle of when I was sick, and I'm like, I don't even understand what's going on.
You know, it just occurred to me. Do I need a second stick for this?
No, you can play it without the second stick.
Okay,
I
good.
believe. I'll say yes with confidence. The only other RPG coming out this month is Breath of Fire comes out on the Wii U Virtual Console. That's the Super NES, the first Breath of Fire game. I never played Breath of Fire 1 or 2, but I really like 3 and 4 and 5, Dragon Quarter. I've heard 1 is pretty okay, but 2 is the much better game. So unless you're really interested in the history of Breath of Fire, which if you are, just play 3, you might want to skip on the first one. That's old Capcom, not new crazy Capcom.
What is Nintendo charging for it anyway?
I did not see. Usually it's only a couple of bucks. It's not that bad.
Okay.
I think it's less than 10. It's something weird like 7 or 8. It's not like 5 or 10.
I always judge them pretty harshly on the cost of the Virtual Console stuff on 3DS.
Yeah. That stuff's really pricey.
Yeah.
And Game Boy Advance games aren't on it, which I think is outstanding and a crazy choice. All right, let's move into news stories. A lot of Kickstarter stuff this month, but hey man, we're going to tell you about the cool RPGs that are coming out. So first off, the Shadowrun Hong Kong Kickstarter was announced at the time of recording. It has 9 days to go. By the time this episode comes out, about 7 days. So far, it's made almost $1 million of its $100,000 goal. You are a resident Shadowrun fan. What's the good deets about Hong Kong here?
Okay, so basically they have already been working on it. They just want to add more stuff to it, which
nice.
is kind of the point of the Kickstarter. They're basing it off of the engine for the director's cut. They're just adding to that and expanding it. So unlike the first one, they didn't need anywhere near as much money to do what they wanted. Let me think. There's only 2 tiers on this with physical goods, which after participating in a lot of these Kickstarters, I think is a really good thing, because the digital game is going to release before you get your physical copy. Right. Like every single time. And your physical copy, in my experience, comes months later.
Yeah, it's a collector's item and not really, I'm going to get the thing I play as.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
This will be a standalone PC release. They're not going to do mobile. I think they felt like they split themselves into too many directions doing that.
Yeah.
Let me think. You already said it just ended December 17th. One of the goals they already reached, and it's the one I wanted them to reach the most, which is the Matrix redesign.
Oh, nice.
Because the Matrix was it really wasn't very good in the first game. It was very frustrating. You always had a combat scenario happening in the Matrix and in the regular game, so you're essentially defending your guy on a computer who's trying to kill things in the computer.
Oh boy.
And if he dies, then you're screwed. And if your outside party dies, you're screwed. And it's really, really hard. So hopefully they find a way to make that much more interesting than just, okay, now you're in the Matrix and everything looks digital, but it's still kind of, you're fighting with different skill sets. I don't know. But fingers crossed.
They also have a new stretch goal for $1 million where they'll have a 4 to 5 hour mini campaign that's available for everybody that backed at the $15 level and above. So even more reason.
I like these guys' work. I think they're good writers. I think the gameplay is good.
Well, and I think what's really impressive is, when they announced that they're making a new Shadowrun, it's like, yeah, okay, sure, that sounds great. And they came out with a game on time, and it was fantastic. It was, it was a smaller experience than I think some people wanted, but it was very tight. It was very well made. It was focused. And then every time they go to Kickstarter, they raise a bunch of money and they deliver the exact game they said they would on time, and it comes out and it's great, and it's pretty much bug free, and it's kind of what you want at a Kickstarter. I mean, they just come out and they make the game they say they're going to make on time, and everything's fine.
No other Kickstarter is on time.
Yeah, and for understandable reasons, but there's, it's kind of nice to see one of these. You can hold this up and say, Kickstarter does work. Look at these guys; they're doing really great stuff.
Okay. I see the other Jay-Z's asking me in the chat. How did you feel about how they portrayed the Matrix in the old SNES Genesis Shadowrun games? I thought it was awesome as a kid, but I haven't gone back to it. I did not play them as a kid, and after I backed the first Shadowrun, I attempted to play the Genesis one, and I could not figure out what I was doing at all. Like,
is it one of those games that maybe you had to read the entire instruction manual it came with first?
Probably. It's an isometric RPG, action RPG on the Genesis.
Boy.
It was a bit unwieldy to control and to figure out where I was going, and it seemed like everything was an enemy, but I wasn't sure. One of the characters from the Genesis game was in Shadowrun Returns, the original Shadowrun Returns.
Oh, nice.
But I didn't get far enough to see the Matrix.
Yeah. Seems like one of those games that if you didn't play when you were a kid, maybe you just watch someone's Let's Play on YouTube, because it sounds like it'd be one of those things that's just old enough to have enough quirks, where it's sort of like, why can't I go here and buy this thing? And it's like, oh, well, you didn't talk to the one dude 15 blocks away. And it's like, okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Definitely one of those games you want to print out a walkthrough and then go through, it seems like to me. But
yeah, exactly.
It may not be a linear game either, though, so maybe that won't work.
Yeah, who knows anymore?
I don't know. The two physical tiers aren't even physical copies of the game, by the way. They are statue miniatures of the characters of the game and a Shadowrun tote bag.
That's a smart idea, though. Why make a physical copy of the game when no one needs that, really? Well,
and they aren't a publisher. They are not equipped to deal with physical orders, so it sounds the simplest to me, because they're going to get their packages and they're going to have very little work to do on that end, whereas the previous one, they had a dozen different physical tiers, and it must have just been a nightmare for them.
I've heard so many horror stories of Kickstarter people where they're like, yeah, we're going to sell physical copies. And they're like, oh, we need to ship 250,000? What? Who's going to do that? Oh, it's us. All right.
It seemed to me the only ones who knew what they were doing with the physical stuff was In Exile with Wasteland 2. But even they were late, but they delivered the product, and it looked like what it was, and it was pretty cool. But all the other video games I've backed that had physical product with them, I've been pretty disappointed with the physical product.
The other Jay-Z in chat brings up a good point. A physical copy of Shadowrun would be antithetical to the theme of the game. That's also true.
That is true.
Why should it exist in meat space? It shouldn't.
So Also to mention it, just because it'd be nice if they hit that million goal, $15 will get you the copy of the game on Steam.
Perfect. $15 is cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, moving on. Next news story here. Pillars of Eternity. The release date is March 26th. So you'll be able to purchase it on Steam, GOG, and other retailers. So, I love Obsidian. I really love their games, and I'm so excited to try this game out just to see what crazy thing they have made.
I'm really excited for it, but man, was that beta I played a long time ago at Infinity Engine game. So I am a little bit scared at the same time too, because I hope it's a little bit more. I hope it's easier than what I played.
Right.
But I'm pretty excited. I love the races that they put in it. I love the character classes. So excited to read what they wrote.
Yeah. Next news story here, one of my most anticipated games this year, Xenoblade Chronicles confirmed for US release April 10th. So this is only on the new 3DS XL. So if you have an old one, do not apply. And also it's impossible to find on the Wii, which is a shame because I really liked that game. I never finished it, so let me give everybody a suggestion here. This game has about a bajillion side quests. Don't do all of them. That's what tired me out on that game was, oh, okay, cool, I walked in this new area, there's 10 side quests, yay, free XP. There's so many. Oh my god. Don't do all of them. They're all really good. You can get back to them later. Just keep on keeping on.
And the new one is supposed to be like twice as long and having
A little intimidated.
Have some mechs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nintendo also announced the latest Fire Emblem game for 3DS. It doesn't really have a name other than the new Fire Emblem game. But I watched a little bit of the teaser trailer. Looks like Fire Emblem. I am super excited to play another Fire Emblem game, even if I didn't finish Awakening was the last one. Yeah. Fire Emblem's good. I'm glad to see they're continuing to come out with them in the US.
I really need to play the rest of the ones that I've bought over the years.
Yeah. It seems like one of those games where you get about halfway through and you're like, man, this is good. It's starting to get a little hard. All right, I like this. And then something else captures your eye and you're like, well, yeah, I'll get back to Fire Emblem. And a month later, you're like, I don't remember what is happening. I will not be able to finish that game.
I conquered the Fire Emblem. What was it? It was the first Fire Emblem for Wii.
Yeah, whatever that one was called.
I played the crap out of it. Or maybe it was GameCube. It was GameCube, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Even further back.
Yeah.
It was either Path of Radiance or...
That sounds right.
Path of Radiance happened after.
Right.
And since then, I bought like 2 or 3 games and then just never got around to playing them because I knew what a time sink it was.
Yeah.
But...
Yeah, it's like if a new Final Fantasy Tactics game was to come out today, I'd just be like, well, this is a game I'm going to be playing for 6 months. All right.
Oh, man. If they announced a new Final Fantasy, that would be the one Final Fantasy title they could announce that I would lose my mind over.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, if they would have Matsuno directed again. I'd be like, well, all right. However much money you need. Kickstart this thing. I got a couple $100. I don't need to pay rent.
Yeah.
And our last news story this time, Bard's Tale 4 announced. Brian Fargo and In Exile Entertainment announced it at PAX South. This was one I had actually completely missed. I didn't know about this until it showed up in our own show notes. You had played previous Bard's Tale games, right?
Yeah, I'm a big Bard's Tale fan.
Yeah. What's the deets about Bard's Tale 4?
They really haven't said anything much about it yet. Basically, what they've said is it's going to be kickstarted. I guess this year or next year's the 30th anniversary of it.
Oh wow!
This is not like I think most people would probably be more likely at least to know the Bard's Tale in Exile did for PS2 and Xbox 10 years ago, and it's nothing like that game. Bard's Tale, the original, plays very much like Wizardry or Ultima from the 80s.
Yep.
So it'll be a make-your-own-characters dungeon crawler. In Exile is going to set up a forum so they can kind of find out what people expect from Bard's Tales.
Oh, nice.
And Brian Fargo even made the joke that they might look into importing the old characters.
Oh, man.
Which would mean I would have to play through Bard's Tales 1 through 3.
Yeah, but I'm sure they have them on GOG, so...
I own so many copies of those games in so many formats.
You're funding Bard's Tale 4.
I know how to hack the save game
Oh,
files
wow.
for those, so that
Old
if
school.
I replay them, that will be exactly what I do.
I certainly don't blame you.
Just to get through them quick. But
That's exciting,
always-
though.
I'm pretty excited. Bard's Tale was a game that I was playing, I think, before I could read.
Yeah, one of those early 90s games, or late 80s games that taught most of us how to read.
Well, it's the original Bard's Tale, I believe, was released in '86.
Okay.
I think so. And the latter two, I think, came out late '80s, early '90s.
Yeah.
I'm excited for it. I think they did a fantastic job with Wasteland 2.
Yep.
I'm a Tides of Numenera backer, so hopefully that's good as well.
Yeah. I don't know if
But
that's-
I will
yeah.
throw some money on that whenever they get around to launching
Yeah.
it.
That'd be great. The other Jay-Z asks, was that remake in the GameCube, Xbox, PS2 era any good? No. it is famous for not only being bad, but missing the point of Bard's Tale completely. Like,
it
it's
was
bad.
nothing like Bard's Tale. It's a Diablo. Well, I don't even know how to call it Diablo. It's the PS2 EverQuest games. It kind of plays like that.
Yeah, like a kind of third-person hack-slashy sort of
Yeah.
thing.
But it's made of puns. If you're a fan of Xanth, the Xanth books,
Yeah.
then you might enjoy it.
If you aggressively love puns.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's all the news stories we have this week. We don't have any emails, but we do have a tweet from Gibbinator. Asks, assuming you haven't covered it already, what are your thoughts on the Xenoblade X multiplayer info dump? That's the 32-player Souls-style info sharing and 4-player co-op campaign. I think that's really crazy, and I'm really happy to see someone trying it in what initially could just be a standard JRPG. I don't necessarily think the game needs it because it's probably really good by itself. But it's kind of neat to see them trying something. 4-player co-op campaign. My wife and I love playing games together, and RPGs are really great because we don't like competing with each other. We like cooperating. So that sounds really great on the surface, that if we can play an RPG together, that'd be fantastic.
Co-op is good.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know too much about the 32-player lobbies with Dark Souls style info sharing, but all of that is music to my ears, so man, good stuff.
I like co-op, but I don't like MMO co-op.
Yeah.
Give me a world with only my friends in it.
Yeah, I really, we've lamented on the show so many times that we wish more JRPGs had, multiplayer in them, kind of like how Final Fantasy IX did, where plug your controller in, two people, somebody controls these two characters, somebody controls these two, And I think some of the Tales games have done that, but not enough have done that. I'd like to see that be a more common thing. Oh man, I can't believe we forgot to talk about the big news story this past week. The frickin' Persona 5 trailer.
Oh my gosh.
I was just thinking, like, man, it'd be great if Persona 4 would Persona 5. Oh my god, like, I have not paid attention to much Persona 5 stuff, and that trailer has me so excited. Oh my god.
So they're definitely using like super modified version of that Catherine graphics image because
looks so good.
That thing is gorgeous.
Oh man. Oh, that
It's,
Catherine engine.
So, and was it just me? I know it wasn't just me because someone on Twitter said it too, but like it appears that all the main characters have like superhero personas too.
It seems like they all have thief personas.
Oh.
Yeah. And that's just what I'm seeing from the trailer. But what's interesting is Atlas is being surprisingly pretty tight-lipped about the game. Clearly, there's like some sort of ballroom mask theme to the game in general. Thankfully, the same composer is back, and holy crap, that song in the trailer was amazing. It seems like they have all the Persona pieces there. It seems like it's very similar to Persona 4. Igor's back, thankfully. Yeah, it seems like there's this kind of cat burglar-esque thing to it that I thought was really great.
Quite literally with the cat.
I'm so excited to have a cat in my party. You have no idea. Yeah, that looks so good. That looks so good, and I want Atlas USA to announce it so I can pre-order it and get it in my house so I can play it before somebody spoils it for me.
Yeah. Well, and something someone else noticed in the trailer was it was showing the main party fighting the Jacks, and fighting. I can't. They were fighting Personas. Wait, actually, now that I'm thinking about their comment, that doesn't really matter. Because you fight those anyway, don't you, in Persona? Or am I thinking of Shin Megami Tensei?
Yeah, you fight... No, in Persona, yeah, you typically fight just shadows.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I saw there was like a Sandman. They were fighting like a group of Sandmen in the trailer, and I was like, that's weird.
So it makes me wonder if they're going to add the recruiting back to the game.
That'd be interesting.
I say back to the game. If they're going to take the recruiting mechanic, I say we don't want them to take the recruit, but we want them to make a new recruiting mechanic.
Right, because Persona 1 and 2 both had recruiting, if I remember correctly, right?
Yes.
I know the SMT proper games always do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I am so excited. That trailer came out and everybody was really excited. I was like, I don't know. I don't think it can be that good. But yes, it is outstanding. And then there's that crazy part at the very end of the trailer where something takes over your main character, and then it has that like card smashing, that noise from Persona, and everybody's like, you turn into Personas yourself, and I'm like, I don't even know, but I'm excited. I want to know.
Well, and that was always the metaphor, right? Was that the
Right.
personas you summon were different aspects of your personality?
Yeah, your true self.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the only thing that Alice has really said is that the theme of Persona 5 is really those who are disillusioned with their lives. And I thought I think that's interesting, because Persona 4, the theme was, if I remember correctly, people that feel trapped by their lives, if I remember. I don't remember what Persona 3's was, but I'm so excited.
I wish they would hurry up and announce the American date.
Yeah.
Tell us what crazy extras Atlas is going to give us.
Whatever special edition they're going to sell, I'm starting to squirrel money away right now.
God. And something that would really wreck me financially is if they were like, Persona 5 themed PS4.
I'd take out a loan. Oh man, yeah, I'm so excited, and I'm genuinely very excited to see what that team does on current powerful hardware. Because typically we get their games at the end of Persona 3 and 4 were. Especially Persona 4 was really at the end of the PS2's life cycle. We're only a year into the PS4, so I'm really excited to see what happens when they kind of grab the horns on a brand new generation.
Well, and in another way, it's really exciting because since they're getting in so early on it, well, I guess this is repeating what you just said, but like, they could make Persona 6 that much faster.
Oh, totally, yeah. Oh, man, think of it. We get 2 Persona games, maybe even Dare to Dream 3.
That would be great. That'd be great.
Yeah. Oh, man. All right, but that's all of our news stories and tweets and emails this month. If you'd like to visit us, you can do so at pickingupthepixels.com. Email us fans@pickingupthepixels.com. Tweet us @pickinguppixels. There's no "the" in there. And don't forget to watch us live the first Saturday of every month, twitch.tv/E1M1 Network. That is at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern. You can find Musum at listentomusum.com or musum.bandcamp.com.
Either one.
Both of them. Visit twice. It's just as nice. And you can visit Mina. Hopefully she's doing okay. You can visit her at hitbox.tv/Risette, RISETTE. And thank you very much for joining me again, Musum.
Pleasure as always.
And we'll see you all next month. Bye. Okay, bye. All right, thank you very much, everyone, for watching us live. I'm going to go and I'm going to eat more food because I am very hungry. See you next month, everyone.